In the garden. Keeper went into Chip's room and picked up the magic key. The key began to glow. "Oh, help!" said Keeper. Keeper ran outside and looked for Biff and Chip. "Help!" he called. "The key is glowing." Biff and Chip were playing with Wilf and Wilma. They were playing in the sandpit. "Look at the magic key," called Keeper. Biff was cross with Keeper. "Come on, everyone," she yelled. "Run inside. Get to the magic house." It was too late. The magic began to work. The children got smaller and smaller. The children were in the grass, and everything looked big. The grass was like a jungle. "What big flowers," said Keeper. Chip saw a bumblebee. He didn't like it, and he didn't like the jungle. "Let's get out of here," he called. The children came out of the jungle. They came to a mountain. "What a big mountain," said Wilf. Chip began to climb. He wanted to get to the top. "Come on," he said. "Let's climb up." The children got to the top. Keeper was hot. "I don't like climbing mountains," he said. The children looked at the sand. "It looks like a desert," said Biff. "Let's go down." "Oh no," said Keeper. "Look at the toy car," said Wilma. "Let's get inside and ride down." "We can ride down to the desert." Whoosh! The car took them down the mountain. "This is fun," said Wilma. The car stopped in the sand. The children climbed out. "Oh no," said Wilf. "Look at that big cat." The children climbed inside a bottle. Keeper was frightened. "I don't like this," he said. The cat looked inside the bottle. It pushed it with its paw. "Go away, cat," shouted Keeper. "Shoo!" everyone yelled. Floppy chased the cat away. The children climbed out of the bottle. "Good old Floppy," said Biff. They walked over the desert. Everyone felt hot. Everyone felt very hot. "I want a drink," said Keeper. "Look," said Wolf. "Giant strawberries." The children ran to eat them. "I love strawberries," said Chip. "So do I," said Wolf. The children ate the strawberries. They pulled off big lumps. Keeper licked his lips. "I like this adventure now," he said. It began to rain. "What big drops," said Wilma. "I feel sick now," said Keeper. "So do I," said Chip. The children ran to a giant flower pot. They hid under it. The key began to glow. The magic was over. "I can't see," said Chip. He had the flower pot on his head. "I like the hat," said Wilma. Dad looked at his strawberries. "I don't know," he said. "There must be a giant slug around here." Keeper and the Giant. Keeper was watching television. He was watching a program called The Angry Giant. He liked the program. The angry giant lived in a castle near a village. Nobody in the village liked the giant. He was always cross. When the giant was cross, he stamped his feet and the houses shook. "Oh no," everyone said. "He's cross again. He's always cross." Keeper went to find Chip, but he was out. He picked up the magic key and it began to glow. "Ooh," said Keeper. He ran to get Biff, but she was out with Chip. The magic began to work. It took Keeper inside the magic house. The magic took Keeper to the gate of the giant castle. Keeper was frightened. He saw a signpost. It pointed to the village. He didn't want to meet the giant, so he went to the village. Keeper came to the village, but it was tiny. Keeper was a giant. "Oh no," said Keeper. "Go away," yelled the people. "We don't want you. We've got one giant. We don't want another one." The people threw things at Keeper. "Go away," they yelled. "We don't want another giant. We don't want you." "Stop it," shouted Keeper. "I'm not a giant. I'm a boy." The people said, "Well, you look like a giant." Keeper began to cry. "I'm not a giant," he said. "I am a little boy and I don't like this adventure." "Giants don't cry," said the people. "Perhaps he is a little boy, but he looks like a giant to us. Perhaps he can help us." Keeper helped the villagers to mend their houses. He put back the broken roofs. "Good old Keeper," everyone said. "The giant threw this big stone at us," said the people. "We don't want it here. Can you put it outside the village?" "Yes," said Keeper. "I will try." He picked up the stone and took it outside the village. "Good old Keeper," everyone called. All the people liked Keeper. "Thank you," they said. "You have helped us a lot." The village band played for him. The giant came back. He was very angry when he saw Keeper in the village. "I'm the giant here," he shouted. He ran toward the village. Crash! He fell over the stone. "Ouch!" he yelled. The people were frightened, but Keeper went to help the giant. He picked up the giant things and put a bandage around his head. Keeper was bigger than the giant. "Be a good giant," said Keeper. "Stop being angry and the people will like you." So the giant stopped being angry. "I will try to be good," he said. "Hooray!" shouted the people. "Let's have a party." The key began to glow. "It's time for me to go now," said Keeper. "Goodbye. Thank you for the party." The magic took Keeper home. "Nobody likes an angry giant," said Keeper. "What an adventure!" The outing. A bus came to the school. The children climbed in. "I like going out," said Wilf. "Don't push," said Mrs. May. The bus set off. "Hooray!" shouted the children. "We are going to the zoo." "Don't shout, children," said Mrs. May. Biff sat with Chip. Wilf sat with Nadim. "This is fun," shouted Nadim. "It is, if you don't shout," said Mrs. May. The bus stopped on the way. The children climbed out. Some children looked at the water. Some children went to the toilet. "Don't run away," said Mrs. May, "and don't go too near the water." Wilf kicked a stone and his shoe came off. The shoe landed in the water with a splash. "Oh, Wilf," said Biff. Wilf couldn't get his shoes. He told Mrs. May about it. "What a silly thing to do," she said. "I don't know what we can do." When they got to the zoo, it began to rain. The children climbed out of the bus, and Mrs. May went to get the tickets. Nadine wanted to see the elephants. Wilf wanted to see the lions, and Biff wanted to see the crocodiles. "I hope the rain stops," said Mrs. May. It rained and rained. The children were fed up. The animals were fed up too. "Don't get wet," said Mrs. May. The rain didn't stop, so the children climbed back on the bus. "Can we go to the museum?" asked Nadim. "What a good idea," said Mrs. May. They went to the museum. "This is good," said Wilf. "We can see dinosaurs here." "I like dinosaurs," said Nadim. They began to run towards the dinosaurs. "Don't run," called Mrs. May. "The dinosaurs won't go away." They looked at a big dinosaur. "What is this one called?" asked Wilf. "I don't know yet," said Nadim. "Let's go and see." Biff had a camera. She took a photograph of the dinosaur. "What is it called?" she asked. "It is an Apatosaurus," said Nadim. The children went into a room. A lady told them about dinosaurs and showed them some pictures. "I know what that one is called," said Nadim. "It's called an Apatosaurus." "Good, Nadim," said Mrs. May. The children went to the shop. Wolf got a book about dinosaurs. Nadim got a model to make. It was a model of an Apatosaurus. "I can make it at home," he said. Chip said, "Come to our house. We can help you." The bus got back to school. It was time to go home. "Thank you," said the children. "Thank you for a lovely day." "Goodbye, Mrs. May," said Nadim. "Can we draw dinosaurs tomorrow?" "What a good idea," said Mrs. May. Nadim and Will went home with Biff and Chip. They went to Chip's room and began to make the model. The magic key began to glow. Biff ran to the box and picked it up. "Come on," she called. "It's time for a magic adventure." "Come on, Nadim," called Chip. "We are going on a magic adventure. We are going to the land of the dinosaurs." Land of the dinosaurs. "We are going on a magic adventure," said Chip. The children went through the door of the magic house. "Oh, help!" said Nadim. The magic took the children to the land of the dinosaurs. "I don't want this adventure," said Nadim. "I don't want to meet a dinosaur." A dragonfly flew by. "Look at this," said Chip. "It's a giant dragonfly. What a big one." Chip found a footprint. It was a giant footprint. "Come and look," said Chip. "It must be a dinosaur's footprint." Biff took a photograph of a giant footprint. I can take this photograph to school, she said. Nadine found some eggs. They were big eggs. They must be a dinosaur's eggs, he said. One of the eggs began to crack. It's going to hatch out, said Biff. Something came out of the egg. It's a little dinosaur, said Nadine. Something flew by. The children were frightened. What is it? Asked Chip. I don't know, said Biff. The children ran. It's a flying dinosaur, said Nadine. And it's a big one. Come on, let's hide. The flying dinosaur flew down to the eggs. It picked up the little dinosaur in its teeth. Oh no, said Biff. It's going to eat it. She picked up a stick and ran out. Go away, she yelled. The dinosaur flew away, but Chip was cross with Biff. You were silly, he said. It could have got you. Wilf ran on and climbed the hill. He wanted to look for an Apatosaurus. Come up here, Biff, he called. You can take a photograph. Wilf had not climbed on a hill. He had climbed on a dinosaur, and it was enormous. It looked round at Wilf. Wilf was frightened. Oh, help, he said. He jumped down and ran. Let's get out of here, he called. Don't be frightened, said Chip. It's an Apatosaurus. It's like the one in the museum. It won't hurt us. Biff took a photograph of it. What a long neck it's got. And what a long tail, she said. I need a bigger camera. The Apatosaurus ran into the water. What an enormous splash, said Wilf. Nadim looked frightened. Oh, help, he called. Another dinosaur was coming and it looked very fierce. Let's get out of here, yelled Chip. Biff took a photograph. Come on, yelled Chip. Don't stop for that. This one could eat us. They began to run away. Wilf's another shoe came off in the mud. Suddenly the key began to glow. Just in time, said Chip. The magic took the children to Biff's bedroom. What an adventure, said Biff. I've got some good photographs. This is the fierce dinosaur, said Chip. Did you take his photograph? Yes, said Biff. Let's tell Mom and Dad. I took photographs of dinosaurs, said Biff. Oh yes, said Dad. Well, I'm sorry I didn't put a film in the camera. Robin Hood. Biff and Wilma went to the pantomime. They went with Wilma's mom. They had a friend called Anina. Anina went to the pantomime with them. The pantomime was about Robin Hood. Robin Hood was a good man. He lived in a wood with his men. Everyone liked Robin Hood, and they gave a cheer every time he came in. There was a bad man called the sheriff. Nobody liked the sheriff. He wanted to catch Robin Hood and lock him up. Look out, Robin! Shouted the children. The next day, Wilma and Anina went to play with Biff. They sang a song about Robin Hood. Wilma played her guitar and Anina played her recorder. Keeper didn't like the song. He put his hands over his ears and made a face. Ooh, said Keeper. Keeper had a key round his neck. It was the magic key. Biff was cross with Keeper. "Put the key back in the box," she said. Suddenly the key began to glow. "Look out, Anina," said Biff. "This is a magic key and the magic is working. It's time for an adventure." The magic took the children to a wood. It was the wood where Robin Hood lived. The children could see Robin with some of his men. Robin Hood had not seen the children. Anina was frightened. "I hope he is a good man," she said. "Come on," said Keeper. "I can smell food." Robin Hood saw the children. "Who are you?" he asked. "Are you lost in the woods? Come and sit down." The children sat by the fire. "We saw you in a play," said Anina. "We can sing a song about you." "Oh no," said Keeper. "Not the song again." Biff, Wilma, and Anina sang the song. The song said everyone liked Robin, but nobody liked the sheriff. Robin Hood's men gave a cheer. "What a good song," said Robin Hood. "Sing it to me again." Keeper looked inside a big black pot. Nobody saw the sheriff coming. Suddenly, the sheriff's men ran in. They grabbed Robin Hood and put a rope round him. "Gotcha at last," said the sheriff. They jumped on Robin's men and they grabbed Biff, Wilma, and Anina. They put them all into a cot. "Take them away," said the sheriff. Keeper hid in the big black pot. The sheriff's man didn't see him. "Oh no," he said. "What can I do? I must help them." The sheriff took them to a village. He said, "My castle is too far away, so we will stop here. One of my men will see you. Don't get away." Keeper went up to the man. He gave the man a sweet. "What is that thing?" he asked. "You lock people up in it," said the man. "You can't lock people in that," said Keeper. "You can't get them in." "Oh yes you can," said the man. "Look." He put his head and his hands. "Ha!" said Keeper. "You fell for it." He locked the man and took away his keys. "Ah!" said the man. Keeper set them free. "Come on everyone," said Robin Hood. "Let's go back to the woods. We don't want the sheriff to catch us." They went to a new part of the woods. "3 cheers for Keeper," said Robin Hood. "Now let's sing that song about me again." "Oh no," said Keeper. Suddenly the magic key began to glow. "Just in time," said Keeper. "It's time for us to go." "Goodbye," said the children. "Goodbye," said Robin Hood, "and thanks." "What an adventure," said Nina. "I liked Robin Hood and his men. Let's sing the song." "Ah!" said Keeper. The treasure chest. Every week, Mrs. May took some of the children to the swimming pool. The children were good swimmers, and they liked going with Mrs. May. The children were taking a swimming test. "It's time to begin," said Mrs. May. "Who wants to go first?" "We do," said Nadine. Biff, Chip, Wilma, and Nadim jumped into the pool. The water was warm. "Off you go," 'Off 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 you go," ' They had to swim up and down the pool. They had to swim 10 lengths. Wilma was first to swim 10 lengths, and Biff and Nadim were next. It was hard for Chip to swim the 10 lengths. "Come on, Chip," called Mrs. May. "Don't stop. This is the last length." So Chip went on and everyone was pleased. Next, they had to swim to the bottom of the pool. They had to pick up a brick and swim with it to the top. All the children passed the swimming test. Mrs. May was pleased. "Well done, everyone," she said. The children were pleased too. Biff and Chip told Mom and Dad about the swimming test. "We passed," they said. Mom and Dad were very pleased too. Mom and Dad had a surprise for them. Biff and Chip couldn't see what the surprise was. "What is it?" asked Biff. "It's a fish tank," said Biff. "What a lovely surprise!" Everyone looked at the fish swimming about in the tank. "There is room for more fish," said Dad. "We can get some next time we go shopping." The next day they went shopping. Dad took them to a shop that sold fish. "What a lovely shop," said Biff. "Look at all the fish. There were big fish and little fish. Keep her like the big fish in a tank." "Don't tap the glass," said Dad. "The fish don't like it." Dad put some more fish in the tank. He put rocks on the bottom. Next to the rocks, he put a ship and a little box. Wilma and Nadim came to see the fish tank. "It looks lovely," said Wilma. "I wish I could swim in there." They went to play in Biff's room. Chip ran in with the magic key. The key was glowing. "It's time for an adventure," said Biff. The magic began to work. It took the children into a new adventure. This time it was a different sort of adventure. The magic took them underwater. The children had masks and flippers and tanks of air. They could swim underwater. The children had never seen so many fish. They were all different colors. "This is better than the pool," thought Chip. "I feel like a fish," thought Wilma. The children loved swimming under the water. It was lovely to see all the fish and to swim with them. Chip and Nadim swam to the bottom and picked up a big shell. Biff looked at a jellyfish, but she didn't swim too close. They saw a ship under the water. It was an old ship that had been under the water for a long time. They swam up to the ship. Wilma didn't want to swim too close to it. It looked dangerous. They saw an octopus. Oh no! It was sitting on a chest. They couldn't look inside the chest with an octopus sitting on the lid. They blew bubbles at the octopus. The octopus didn't like the bubbles, so it swam away. "Good," thought the children. "Now we can look inside." The children opened up the chest and looked inside. It was a treasure chest and it was full of gold. Biff and Wilma pushed the chest over and all the gold fell out. Nadim picked up a necklace and Biff picked up a gold cup. Biff and Nadim were busy looking at the treasure. They didn't see what Chip and Wilma saw. A shark was coming. Chip and Wilma couldn't tell Biff and Nadim. They pulled them away and pointed at the shark. The children were frightened. They swam and swam, but the shark swam after them. Then the magic key began to glow. The magic key took them out of the adventure. "Wow, what an adventure," said Biff. The treasure chest was like the one in our fish tank. The children ran to look in the fish tank. "Look, there's the treasure," said Chip. "How did it get there?" asked Nadim. "It's magic," said Biff. Fright in the Night. Biff and Chip went to stay with Gran. They wanted to stay for a week. "Be good," called Mom. "Don't worry," said Gran. "I will." Gran's house was small. It had 2 bedrooms. Biff and Chip had to sleep in the same bedroom. Biff wanted the bed by the door. Chip wanted the bed by the window. "That's good," said Gran. Gran took Biff and Chip for a walk. They went to the woods. Biff saw some blackberries. She wanted to pick some. Gran had some plastic bags. She gave one to Biff and Chip. "We can make some blackberry jam," she said. Gran made the blackberry jam. Biff and Chip helped. Chip made some labels and Biff licked the spoon. They made 9 jars of jam. "You can take a jar home for a keeper," said Gran. "And a jar for Wilf and Wilma." The children loved Gran's house. It was very old. It had a big fireplace. Biff helped Gran light the fire. Chip helped Gran get some logs. "Do you have a ghost?" he asked. Gran laughed. "There are no such things," she said. They sat by the fire. Gran made some toast. Biff wanted to try the new jam. "It's still too hot," said Gran. Chip had a new game. It was called Haunted House. "Can we play Haunted House before we go to bed?" he asked. It was time for bed. Gran got Chip a hot water bottle. "Is this house haunted?" asked Biff. "Don't worry," laughed Gran. "I don't have ghosts in my house. There are no such things." Biff and Chip couldn't sleep. Biff had an idea. She wanted to play a joke on Chip. She had a torch in the bed. Biff put the sheet over her head. She switched on the torch. The sheet glowed. "I'm a ghost," said Biff. Chip laughed. He wasn't frightened. He pulled the sheet off Biff. "That was a good joke," he said. Biff and Chip heard a noise. It came from outside. "Ooh, ooh," went the noise. "Oh no," said Biff. "It's a ghost." Chip looked out the window. "It's not a ghost," he laughed. "It's an owl. Come and look." Biff and Chip looked outside. "Oh no," said Chip. "I can see a ghost. It is a ghost this time." Biff and Chip ran to Gran's room. "Gran! Gran!" called Biff. There's a ghost outside! But Gran wasn't in the bed. Biff and Chip ran downstairs. Gran! Called Biff. Where are you? We've seen a ghost! But Gran wasn't downstairs. The door opened. Biff and Chip were frightened. Oh no! They said. Gran came in. We were frightened, said Chip. You looked like a ghost. Gran laughed. I'm not a ghost, she said. I don't have ghosts, said Gran. But I do have two little monsters. Gran laughed, and so did Biff and Chip. Rotten apples. Biff wanted to help Mom, so Mom gave her a job. Pick up the apples so I can cut the grass, said Mom. Biff picked up an apple. Yuck, she said. Some of the apples are bad. She didn't pick up the rotten ones. Mom made Biff pick up all the rotten apples. Put them in the box, said Mom. This is a rotten job, said Biff. Biff put the box of apples by the dustbin. Yuck, rotten apples, she said. Keeper was excited. Come and see this, he said. What is it? Asked Biff. Come and see, said Keeper. A man with a horse and a cart came down the street. The man stopped outside the house. It's Harry Smith, said Chip. Everyone liked Harry Smith. He made people laugh. He wore a top hat and a red coat. He sold things from his cart. Harry Smith rang a bell. Come and see, he said. I've got some birds going cheap. Biff and Chip laughed. Mom bought some logs. The logs were heavy. Harry Smith helped Mom to carry them. Biff looked at the horse. Can we give the horse an apple? She asked. Yes, said Harry Smith. Biff picked up an apple. She held it out. The horse took it with its big teeth. The horse saw the box of apples. It began to eat them. Oh no, said Biff. It's eating all the bad ones. Biff told Harry Smith about the horse. Harry laughed. I didn't know she liked rotten apples, he said. Biff looked in the box. It was empty. All the apples had gone. What a greedy horse, said Biff. The children wanted a ride. Jump up, called Harry Smith. The children climbed on the cart. Hold on, said Harry. The horse began to run. Harry Smith pulled the reins. Slow down, he shouted. But the horse went faster and faster. The horse ran down the street. Slow down, shouted Harry Smith. Stop, shouted Mom. Help, shouted the children. The horse wouldn't stop. It ran and ran. Mom ran after it. Harry Smith pulled the reins. It ran into a car park. Look out, shouted Harry Smith. The horse began to sway. It made a funny noise. The horse went slower and slower. Suddenly it stopped. Then it sat down and went to sleep. Harry Smith and the children climbed off the cart. The horse is drunk, said Mom. Why is it drunk? Asked Biff. Harry Smith looked at the horse. The rotten apples made the horse drunk, he said. Biff was sorry. Harry Smith laughed. He didn't mind. People came to see the horse. They bought things from the cart. Harry Smith sold everything. He gave the children a present. Biff's rotten apples did me a good turn, he said. The Laughing Princess. Chip had a new book. It was about a princess who couldn't laugh. Nobody could make her laugh. Chip had an idea. Try and make me laugh, he said. Biff made a funny face, but she couldn't make Chip laugh. Biff put on a funny wig. She told a funny joke, but she still couldn't make Chip laugh. It's no good, she said. Keeper had some joke teeth. The joke teeth were new. The teeth went click, click, click. Everyone laughed and laughed. The magic key began to glow. The children ran into Biff's room. The magic took them on a new adventure. The children were in a village. They saw a notice on a tree. It was about a princess who couldn't laugh. Keeper had an idea. He still had the joke teeth. I can make the princess laugh, he said. The king was in the village. A girl told him a joke. That's not funny, said the king. That won't make the princess laugh. Who's next? Called the king. I am, said the man. Oh no, groaned the king. Not another chicken. The children went to the king. We can make the princess laugh, said Biff. How? Asked the king. The teeth went click, click, click. Everyone laughed and laughed. That will make the princess laugh, said the king. Keeper dropped the teeth. A dog caught them and ran off with them in its mouth. Stop that dog, shouted the king. Stop that dog and get the teeth. Everyone ran after the dog. Get the teeth, shouted the king. The dog was too fast. Nobody could catch him. Stop that dog, shouted the king. The dog ran this way and that. People tried to grab it, but it was too fast. Get the teeth, shouted Keeper. The king ran after the dog. Everyone ran after the king. The king fell over. The dog saw a bone and it stopped. Chip grabbed the dog and the dog dropped the teeth. Keeper picked up the joke teeth. Everyone looked at them. The teeth were broken. Oh no, said the king. The king put the teeth on a cushion. What a pity, he said. Now they won't make the princess laugh. The princess heard the noise. She looked out of a window. She saw the king and she started to laugh. The king had mud on his clothes. He had the teeth on the cushion. He looked so funny that the princess laughed and laughed. The king looked at the princess. I've made the princess laugh, he said. Everyone laughed and cheered. The magic key began to glow. The magic took the children home. But nobody saw the children go. Everyone was laughing. What made the princess laugh? Asked the keeper. I don't know, said Chip. But people laugh at silly things. Christmas Adventure. It was Christmas Eve. The children were excited. But Mom was hot and Dad was cross. Christmas is hard work, said Dad. Dad put up some decorations. He wanted the children to help, but they didn't want to. They were watching television. Dad turned off the television. "Oh," said Keeper, "we were watching a good program." "It's time to help," said Dad. Just then, Wilf and Wilma came. They had presents for Biff, Chip, and Keeper. "We can help later," said Chip. Biff and Chip had presents for Wilf and Wilma. "Don't open them until tomorrow," said Biff. The magic key began to glow. "It's time for a magic adventure," said Chip. "I hope it's a Christmas adventure." The magic key took the children to the land of Father Christmas. "Hooray!" said Wilf. "We can tell Father Christmas what to bring us." The children were excited. They all wanted special presents. "I want a new bike," said Keeper. "I want a new skateboard," said Biff. The children rang the doorbell. They rang and rang, but nobody came to the door. "That's funny," said Chip. The children looked for Father Christmas, but he was not there. There was nobody there. "Where is everyone?" asked Wilma. The children were disappointed. "It's not fair," said Chip. "I wanted to ask Father Christmas for a computer." The children looked for Father Christmas. They came to his house. "Maybe he's in here," said Keeper. The children went inside. An old man was asleep in a chair. "It's Father Christmas," said Wilf. "Why is he asleep in a chair?" Biff looked at the date. "It's the 25th of December," she said. "Father Christmas must be tired. He's been at work all night." Suddenly, Father Christmas woke up. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "It's Christmas Day. Did I forget to call at your house?" Father Christmas hadn't put up his decorations. "I've been too busy. It's the same every year," he said. Father Christmas had no Christmas dinner. "I didn't have time," he said. "Children want so many presents." The children were sorry for Father Christmas. They found a Christmas tree and put it up. They found some decorations and put them up. "I haven't had decorations up for years," said Father Christmas. Wilma and Chip made some strawberry jam sandwiches. Father Christmas found some lemonade and some crackers. Father Christmas put on his red coat. "Ho, ho, ho!" he laughed. Everyone cheered. "Thank you," said Father Christmas. "Most children just want things, but you've given me a good Christmas." Just then, the key began to glow. "Happy Christmas," said everyone. "Goodbye," said Father Christmas. "Thank you for everything." The magic took the children home. It was Christmas Eve again. "What else can we do to help?" asked Chip. The GoKart Race. Wilma and Biff saw a notice. It was about a go-kart race. Wilma had an idea. She told Biff about it. Biff and Wilma were excited. They told Mom about the race. "We need a go-kart," said Biff. "What about the old one?" Mom went to the shed. She found the old go-kart, but it was broken and rusty. "Oh no," said Biff. Biff told Dad about the race. Dad looked at the old go-kart. "This one is broken," he said, "but we can make a new one." The moms and dads made a new go-kart. Everyone wanted to help. Biff and Mom looked at the plans. Wilma helped her dad. Mom painted the go-kart. Chip helped. He was good at painting. "It looks brilliant," said Biff. Everyone looked at the new go-kart. Biff wanted to go, but Mom said she couldn't. The paint was still wet. Mom took the children to a park. There was a hill in the park. It was a good place to try the new go-kart. Wilma went first, but everyone had a go. Biff went last. "It's brilliant," she said. Wilma saw another go-kart. "It's Anina," she said. "She's got a go-kart too." Everyone looked at Anina's go-kart. "It looks fast," said Wilma. "But I bet ours is faster." "I bet it's not," said Anina. Wilma and Anina had a race. The go-kart raced down the hill. Anina was in front. "Come on!" shouted Biff. Suddenly, a dog ran in front of Anina. Her go-kart crashed into a bush. Wilma crashed into Anina. Everyone looked at the go-karts. Wilma's front wheels were bent. Anina's go-kart was broken. Everyone was upset. Chip looked at the broken go-karts. He had an idea. He told Mom what the idea was. "What a brilliant idea," said Mom. The moms and dads made a new go-kart. They made one go-kart out of two. They put the front of Anina's go-kart on the back of Wilma's. The children liked the new go-kart. They called it Silver Bullet. "What about the race?" asked Biff. "I bet Silver Bullet will win." It was the day of the race. Everyone was excited. "Look at all the go-karts," said Biff. Biff wanted to drive, but so did Wilma and Anina. In the end, Mom tossed a coin and Anina won. It was time for the race. 1, 2, 3, go! Called the starter. "Come on, Anina!" called Biff. The go-kart raced down the hill. Everyone shouted and cheered. Anina went fast. Silver Bullet was in front. Anina didn't win. 2 go-karts went faster. Silver Bullet came third. "Oh no," said Biff. Anina was upset. "I wanted to win," she said. "Don't worry," said Biff. "Silver Bullet's still the best." Silver Bullet did win a prize. It was the best looking go-kart. "Hooray!" Everyone cheered. "We said it was the best." The shiny key. She was watching television. The magic key was on the arm of the chair. Nadim came to play. Chip didn't want to play. He wanted to watch television. He wanted to watch a program about magpies. Nadim wanted a magic adventure. Chip looked for the magic key, but he couldn't find it. Nadim helped Chip to look. Chip looked at the armchair. "I put the key on the arm of the chair," he said. Suddenly he had an idea. The children looked in the armchair. They found lots of things. Chip found Mom's missing earring. "Mom will be pleased," he said. Chip found the key. It was stuck to a toffee. Yuck, said Chip. It's so sticky. Chip told Mom about the armchair. He gave Mom the missing earring. Nadim cleaned the key. He made it very shiny. The children went into Biff's room. Biff looked at the key. Oh no, it looks very shiny, she said. I hope the magic still works. Suddenly, the key began to glow. It looked very bright. The magic took the children into a new adventure. The children were in a wood. Chip didn't like it. The wood was dark and gloomy. Come on, he said. Suddenly, Biff saw something shiny. She picked it up. What a beautiful ring, she said. Somebody must have dropped it. The children saw some soldiers. The soldiers saw the ring. They grabbed the children. That ring is stolen, they said. The soldiers took the children to the prince. We've found your thieves, they said. Here's your ring. Here are the thieves, said the prince. What else have they stolen? My watch was stolen, said the man. My earring was stolen, said the lady. A soldier took the magic key. Look at this shiny key, he said. These children have stolen things. They must have locked them away. The soldiers took the children to a prison. Where are the stolen things? They asked. Tell us, or we will lock you up. Suddenly, a magpie flew down. It took the magic key. Stop that magpie, called Biff. It's stolen the key. The magpie flew to the woods. The magpie is the thief, said Chip. The children ran after the magpie. Everyone ran after the children. The magpie flew to a tree. Look in its nest, said Chip. Nadim climbed the tree. Be careful, called Biff. Nadim looked in the magpie's nest. It was full of shiny things. Nadim gasped. What beautiful things, he said. You see, said Anina crossly. We aren't thieves. The magpie took your things. Sorry, said the soldier. Everyone was pleased. Here's my missing earring, said the lady. Here's my watch, said the man. The prince gave the children a medal. The magpie was the thief, he said. Sorry, we thought it was you. The magic key began to glow. Magpies like shiny things, said Biff. So it was a good job Nadim made the magic key shiny after all. Paris Adventure. The children were doing a project on France. Mrs. May showed them some pictures of Paris. Mrs. May showed them a picture of the Eiffel Tower. It looks very tall, said Biff. After school, Mom came to meet Biff and Chip. Biff had a picture of Paris. We are doing a project on France, she said. Later, Nadim and Anina came to play with Biff and Chip. Anina had a model of the Eiffel Tower. I know, said Chip. Let's paint the French flag. He got a big sheet of paper and they began to paint it. Suddenly, the magic key began to glow. It was time for an adventure. Oh no, said Biff. I wanted to finish painting the flag. The magic took them back in time. It took them to a busy town. There are no cars. said Chip. This must be a long time ago. I know where we are, said Biff. We are in Paris. Look at all the flags. And Nina was excited. We can go and see the Eiffel Tower, she said. The children looked for the Eiffel Tower, but they couldn't find it. Are you sure this is Paris? Asked Chip. Nadim asked the policeman, Do you know where the Eiffel Tower is? He asked. The Eiffel Tower? Said the policeman. There's no such thing. Nina asked the lady, Do you know where the Eiffel Tower is? She asked. The Eiffel Tower? Said the lady. There's no such thing. I know why we can't find the Eiffel Tower, said Biff. It hasn't been invented. Just then they saw a man. He was pulling a cart. Will you help? Asked the man. I can't get the cart up this step. The children helped the man pull the cart into a hall. The man pulled the sheet off the cart. This is my model, he said. What is it? Asked Nadim. It is a torch, said the man. It will be taller than all the houses in Paris. People will see it for miles. Here is a picture. It will look like this. The children looked round the hall. There were lots of models. It's a competition, said Chip. I know which one will win, the Eiffel Tower. But I can't see the Eiffel Tower, said Nadim. Some people began to look at the models to see which was the best. Everyone will see my torch for miles, said the man. At night, the top will light up like this. He plugged in the torch. There was a loud bang. The top of the torch blew off. Then it fell over with a crash. Oh, said the man. It needs a little work. And Nina had an idea. She began to lift the broken torch. Help me, everyone, she said. The children turned the torch upside down. What does it look like to you? Asked Anina. It looks like the Eiffel Tower, said Biff. She spoke to the man. Excuse me, she said. Why not make the torch into a tower? Excuse me, said Anina. But is your name Eiffel? Brilliant, said the man. Brilliant! Just then the magic key began to glow. I wonder if that was Monsieur Eiffel, said Biff. And if that was, how the Eiffel Tower was invented, said Nadim. The Stolen Crown, Part 1. The family went to see an old castle. Most of it had fallen down a long time ago. It's just a ruin, said Chip. Keeper wanted to climb on a wall, but Dad said, No. We must look after old ruins, he said. Once upon a time, it was a big castle, said Biff. I wonder what it was like to live here. Mom found a good spot for a picnic. Floppy saw a rabbit hole. He began to dig in the ground. Chip saw something shining in the dirt, so he picked it up. It's a glass bead, he said. I wonder who lost it, said Biff. Chip looked at the bead through his magnifying glass. Then he put it in his pocket. I don't think it's valuable, he said. Later, Chip came into Biff's room. He had a book about castles. Suddenly, the magic key began to glow. The magic took Biff and Chip back in time. It took them to the castle. Some people were waiting outside the big door. An important man came up. "I am Lord Kent," said the man. "Where is your present for the prince?" Biff and Chip didn't have a present. "Think of something, Chip," said Biff. We have a magic glass," said Chip. "It makes small things look big." "That is a good present," said Lord Kent. "The prince will like it. Put it on this cushion. Then wait outside in the line." At last, Biff and Chip went into a hall. "That was quick thinking, Chip," said Biff. "I wonder who this prince is. He must be important," said Chip. The prince was sitting on a throne. Chip gave him the magnifying glass. "I love it," said the prince. The prince jumped off the throne and looked through the magnifying glass. "Tomorrow is an important day," he said. "Tomorrow I will be the king. You can't call me Henry, but tomorrow I will be King Henry," he said. "Come with me." He ran out of the hall. Henry ran up some stairs. "Come and see my crown," he said. "I wanted to look at it through this magic glass." Two guards looked at Biff and Chip. "We are here to see that the crown is not stolen," said the soldier. "Hold your arms up. We must search you." Henry took Biff and Chip into a small room in a tower. Biff and Chip gasped when they saw the crown. "It looks very valuable," said Chip. "If it was stolen, I could not become king," said Henry. "But it is safe in this tower. Nobody could take it from here." Henry took Biff and Chip to see his horse. "I shall ride him when I become king tomorrow," he said. Suddenly they heard shouting. Lord Kent ran up to Henry. "Come quickly," he shouted. "Your crown has been stolen." Henry ran back up the stairs to the crown room. The guards were still outside the door. "The crown is missing," said the guard. "How can it be missing?" asked Henry. "We don't know," said the guard. "Nobody has been here except you." "I know who stole it," said Lord Kent. "These children have stolen it," Lord Kent went on. "They used magic to do it. Throw them in a prison at once." "Oh," said Biff. "Now we're in trouble." The Stolen Crown, Part 2. "These children stole the crown," said Lord Kent. "Throw them in prison." "Stop," said Henry. "I don't think they stole my crown." Henry spoke to the guards. "Who has been in this room today?" he asked. "You and Lord Kent," said the guard. "Nobody could have taken it out of this room," said the other guard. "We searched everyone. The children took it," said Lord Kent. "We didn't take it," said Biff. "And nobody else could get in from the outside." Chip saw something on the floor. It was a broken arrow. He asked Henry to lend him the magnifying glass. "Someone tied string to the window," said Chip. "I think I know how the crown was stolen. Someone was in this room, then someone outside the castle shot an arrow through the window. It has string tied to it. The person in the room put the string through the crown. Then they tied the string round the spar in the window. The crown slid down the string. Then the person in the room untied the string and left. It was easy. I know who stole the crown, said Henry. You, Lord Kent. You want to stop me being the king. Suddenly, Lord Kent ran off. Ha! He shouted. You will not be king. I will. You have lost the crown. Catch him, shouted Henry. Don't let him get away. Biff and Chip grabbed Lord Kent's clock and pulled him over. Throw him in prison, shouted Henry. Henry ran out of the castle. Come on, he called to Biff and Chip. We have to get my crown back. Suddenly, Henry stopped running. Two men were searching for something in the grass. Keep down, hissed Henry. Don't let them see us. What are they looking for? Asked Biff. One man took the crown out of a bag. This is bad news, he said. The biggest jewel in the crown is missing. We must find it, said the other man. Lord Kent will think we have stolen it. It must be here, said the first man. I hope it didn't fall in the moat. Chip had an idea. In his pocket was a glass bead. Is this the jewel? He asked. No, said Henry. The jewel is much bigger. Give Biff the magnifying glass, Henry, said Chip. And stay where you are. Biff and Chip went up to the man. Biff held the magnifying glass over the bead. Are you looking for this big jewel? She said. We have just found it. Suddenly, Biff dropped the bead. The man bent down to get it. She grabbed the crown and Chip pushed the man into the moat. Splash! Biff threw the crown to Henry. Don't drop it, yelled Chip. Now run! You can't be king after all. I'm glad I'm not a king, said Chip. You just can't trust anyone. But you can trust the magic key, said Biff. It's glowing. Henry was just a boy, said Chip. I wonder if he was king for a long time. Who knows? Said Biff. I wonder if he found that missing jewel. Ship in trouble. Wilma's mom took the children to an adventure playground. It was a new playground and it looked exciting. They all wanted to go on the zip wire. Chip went first. It was hard to get on it. So Wilma's mom helped him. The zip wire went fast. Yee-haw! This is scary, called Chip. I love it. Wilma was next, but she felt scared. Then the wind blew and it began to rain. It's too windy and it's raining, said Wilma. I can't go. It's a bad storm, said Mom. Let's go home. We can come back another day. So they all ran back to the car. Wilf and Wilma went back to Biff and Chip's house. They went to Biff's room to play. I hope we go back to the adventure playground, said Wilf. I want to go on the zip wire. Then the magic key began to glow. The magic took the children back in time. It took them to a cliff near the sea. A bad storm was blowing. Suddenly there was a bang. A bright light lit up the sky. Then a girl ran down the path. Behind her was a man on crutches. "Will you help us?" asked the girl. "The storm has blown a ship onto the rocks." The light in the sky was a call for help. "We can't help," said Wilma. "You need to call the lifeboat." "We can't," said the girl. "The lifeboat has gone to help another ship." "My name is Jane," said the girl. "I'm Jane's father," said the man. "I should be out with the lifeboat, but I've hurt my back." "The ship is stuck on the rocks," said Jane. "People are in danger. If you help us, we can rescue them." They ran to the lifeboat station. Jane loaded things onto a donkey. She gave the children long poles to carry. They went back along the path. The waves were crashing over the ship. "This is a bad storm," said Wilf. Jane told the children to lash 2 poles together. "We must make sure they don't fall over," she said. Jane's father had a special cannon. He shot a line out over the water. The line flew through the air and landed on the ship. Jane tied a rope to the line. The people on the ship pulled it across. Then they tied the rope to the ship. Jane's father put a pulley on the rope. The pulley had a ring tied to it. "I get it," said Wilf. "The people sit in that funny-looking ring. Now we pull them in," said Jane. "And I thought the zip wire was scary," said Wilma. "It was hard pulling the people across the pulley. The rope dipped in the middle and it swung in the wind." The last to come was the captain. "I've lost my ship, but you've saved our lives," he said. "Thank you." Jane looked at the children. "Thank you for helping us," she said. Then the key began to glow. "I'm glad I wasn't on that ship," said Wilma. "The zip wire at the playground won't seem scary now." "Not even in a storm?" asked Wilf. Homework. Everyone was excited. It was half-term. "For homework," said Mrs. May, "I'd like you to keep an autumn diary." "Oh no," said Biff. "Homework." Chip phoned Gran. "We can't stay with you all week," he said. "We've got to keep a nature diary. It's homework." "Don't worry," Gran replied. "We can get the homework done and have some fun." The next day, Dad took Biff and Chip to Gran's. They picked up Nadim on the way. He was going too. "It will be fun at Gran's," said Biff. "I know," said Nadim. "But when will we get time to write our nature diary?" They got to Gran's, but she didn't come to the door. "How odd," said Dad. "She knows we are coming. Let's look in the garden." There were lots of things in the garden. "How odd," said Biff. "Why has Gran put sunbeds out? It's not summer." Suddenly, Gran opened the door of the shed. "Surprise!" she said. The children looked inside. They all gasped. "I've made a nature laboratory," said Gran. "We can do the nature project in here. It will be fun." Gran took the children into the woods. "Let's start with the trees," she said. They collected lots of different leaves. Gran gave Nadim paper and crayons. "Put the paper against the tree, Then rub the crayon over it, she said. It's called the bark rubbing. Back in the laboratory, they looked at the bark rubbings. Each type of tree has different bark, said Nadim. They stuck the leaves in their diaries. Gran had seeds from the trees. We will plant these in pots, she said. One day they will grow into trees. The next morning, Gran got up early. She mixed seeds and nuts with melted fat and poured it into little pots. What is that smell? Asked Chip. Breakfast, said Gran. I don't want to eat that, said Biff. It's not for you, said Gran. It's for the birds. When the fat had set in the pots, Gran hung them in the garden. We can watch the birds, she said. In the afternoon, Gran took them to a special place in the woods. Now, for a secret, said Gran. Look! The children looked around. There were colored mushrooms everywhere. It's amazing, gasped Nadim. Look, but don't touch, said Gran. On the way home, Chip found some marks in the mud. Are they animal tracks? He asked. Gran got some powder out of her bag. She mixed it with water and made a paste. Then she poured the paste onto the animal track. This is plaster, said Gran. It would dry in the shape of the animal track. It's called a cast. They took the cast back to the laboratory. Biff looked up the animal track in a book. It's from a badger, she said. Tonight, I have another surprise, said Gran. We need to wrap up warm and we'll need the sunbeds. Sunbeds? Asked Biff. They lay on the sunbeds and looked up. Sky was full of shooting stars. This is amazing, said Chip. And it's your homework, said Gran. Olympic Adventure. The children were doing a project on Olympic Games. Tomorrow we will go to the museum and next week it's Sports Day, said Mrs. May. Everyone can enter a race on Sports Day, said Mrs. May. I think the girls should have a sewing race, laughed one of the boys. After school, Anina and Wilma went to play with Biff. Anina was cross. Some boys are so silly, she said. The magic key began to glow. The magic took the girls back in time, to a village in Greece. A boy was calling to the villagers. Follow me to the games, he said. Can we go too? Asked Biff. Anyone can, come, said the boy. As long as they are male. The men and the boys from the village went to the games. It's not fair, said Nina. Let's follow them, said Biff. Outside the games, there were lots of guards. They only let men and boys into the games. We will never get in, said Biff. I wish we could see, said Wilma. Anina had an idea. Let's climb a tree, she said. The girls climbed an olive tree. They could see the games. They watched the race. Lots of men ran with shields. The winner won a prize. The prize was a vase. A man put a crown on the winner's head. Then the girls watched some men throwing discs as far as they could. Hey, you! Shouted a girl. The girl was under the tree. If anyone catches you here, you will be in for the high jump, she said. Then why are you here? Asked Biff. I'm picking olives, said the girl. My name is Hera. You'd better come with me to the village. In the village, they met Hera's friend Mila. It's always quiet when the games are on, said Mila. It's so boring. Suddenly, Anina had an idea. Can you get all of your friends together? She asked. The girls in the village came to the meeting. This is my grandmother, said Mila. She paints the vase for the games. Listen everyone, said Anina. Why should boys have all the fun? Let's have a girls' Olympic Games. There were all sorts of races and all the girls took part. There was a 3-legged race and a sack race. Mila's grandmother gave the girls some old plates. The girls threw them like discs. They threw them as far as they could. The girls had an olive and spoon race. Biff dropped her olives, and Hera slipped on them. Mila's grandmother painted the girls on a vase. Hera made some crowns from olive twigs. We're all winners, she said. The boys and the men came back. Girls doing sports? Said one boy. That will never catch on. Suddenly, the magic key began to glow. The next day, Mrs. May took the class to the museum. There was a display about the Greek Olympics. In a glass case, there was a broken vase. A long time ago, a girls' Olympics began, said Mrs. May. Anina looked at the boys. And did the idea catch on? She asked. The Frog Prince. Long ago and far away, there lived a princess. On her birthday, the queen said, I promise to give you any toy you want. I want a ball made of gold, said the princess. There are no balls made of gold, said the queen. But a promise is a promise, said the princess. So the queen had a ball of gold made for the princess. One day the princess was playing with her ball, but the ball fell into the pond. I have lost my ball made of gold, said the princess. She began to cry. A small frog hopped over to the princess. I can get your ball back, the frog said. Frogs can't talk, said the princess. Well, I can, said Frog. I will get your ball back, said Frog. But only if you make me a promise. I will promise anything you like, said the princess. You can't even have my crown. A frog has no need for a crown, said Frog. What do you want then? Said the princess. I want you to promise to be my friend, said Frog. Easy, said the princess. I will do that. So Frog jumped into the pond. He got the ball back, just as he had promised. Now we will be friends, he said. The princess grabbed the ball. She did not say thank you to Frog. Hey, said Frog. What about your promise? But the princess just ran away. Later, as the princess ate her supper, she heard a sound. Tip, tap. What's that? Said the queen. Nothing, said the princess. Open the door, said the queen. No, please don't, said the princess. The queen opened the door. "Oh no," said the princess. Frog came into the room. "Good evening," he said. "What do you want, Frog?" said the queen. "I want the princess to be my friend, just as she promised," said Frog. "I can't be friends with a cold, wet frog," said the princess. "A promise is a promise," said the queen. So Frog sat at the table and ate supper from a plate made of gold. "Now will you go back to the pond?" said the princess. "A real friend would let me stay," said Frog. "A promise is a promise." So the princess took Frog up to her bedroom. "You can't sleep in this nice box," said the princess. "A real friend would let me sleep on her pillow," said Frog. So the princess put Frog on her pillow. As he sat on the pillow, magic happened. Frog grew and grew. He changed into a boy. "Who are you?" said the princess. "I'm a prince," said the boy. "A witch turned me into a frog. The only thing that could turn me back into a prince was somebody being a good friend to me." "But I was a bad friend," said the princess. "I didn't like you at first." "You were a good friend," said the prince. "You gave me food. You even let me sit on your pillow." The princess and the prince became real friends. They liked to play with the ball made of gold, but they never went near the pond. When they grew up, the prince and princess got married. They promised to love each other forever. And they did love each other forever and ever. After all, a promise is a promise. Monkey's Magic Pipe. Long ago, a faraway forest, lived a monster. He lived in a cave of bones. He was huge, he was hairy, he was hungry. One morning, the monster went into the forest with his hunting bag. He sang in his horrible voice, "I'm going to eat you. Wait and see. I'm the monster. Beware of me." Snake slid away. Parrot flew off. Panther hid. The monster went to the drinking pool. He sat and waited. He had hairy arms for catching. He had big yellow teeth for crunching. "I'm the best at waiting," he said. As he sat in a bush by the pool, he sang in his horrible voice, "I'm going to eat you. Wait and see. I'm the monster. Beware of me." Snake was first to come to drink. As she slid into the pool, the monster pounced. "Gotcha!" shouted the monster. "Into my bag." Snake was trapped. Parrot was next to come to the pool. As he flew down, the monster grabbed him. "Gotcha!" shouted the monster. "Into my bag." Parrot was trapped. The panther slipped out of the shadows. He was strong, but the monster was stronger. "Gotcha!" shouted the monster. "Into my bag." Even Panther was trapped. "I shall eat them all," roared the monster, as he set off back to his cave of bones. The bag bumped along behind him. "I'm the best at hunting," he said. The monster saw a monkey sitting under a tree. "Yum," he said. "Pudding." Monkey had a pipe in her little paw. She looked at the hunting bag. Monkey knew her friends were inside, but she was clever and had an idea to set them free. "Monster," she called, "you are the best dancer in the forest. This new tune is just for you." "I must be the best dancer," said the monster, "because I'm the best at everything." He pointed his hairy toe. "Play for me." Monkey played and the monster danced. Then Monkey stopped. "It's no good," she said sadly. "What a pity you dance so well." "What do you mean?" roared the monster. "You need a partner," said Monkey. "I have one," said the monster, and dragged Snake out of his bag. The monster put Snake around his neck and danced and danced. "Good," said Monkey. "Now change partners." The monster opened his bag again and took out Parrot. Snake slid away. Parrot just flapped and screeched. He was not a good dancer. The monster had to dance around him. "I am the best at dancing," the monster said. "Change partners," called Monkey. The monster opened his bag again. He pulled Panther out by his tail. Parrot flew off. Panther struggled and snapped. The monster danced faster and faster. He stamped his hairy feet and clicked his claws. "Change partners," called Monkey. Panther sprang into the bushes. The monster looked in his hunting bag. "My bag is empty," he roared. The leaves shook on every tree. The monster chased Monkey, puffing and panting. But he was so tired he could hardly sing his song. "I'm going to eat you. Wait and see. I'm the monster. Beware of me." "Not today," said Monkey. "Today, Monkey is the best of all." Monkey skipped away, playing her pipe, and all the animals who heard it danced. And what happened to the monster? He was so tired, he lay down in his cave of bones and snored until the bones rattled. If you ever find his cave, don't go in. How the bear lost his tail. We all know how bears are, don't we? Bears are big, hairy, and grumpy with short, stumpy tails. Bears weren't always like that though. Once, long ago, bears were different. They were still big and hairy, but they were sweet and kind and had long, floppy tails. Bears were proud of their tails in those days. How did the bear get the stumpy tail? Why are they so grumpy now? Fox is to blame. Let me tell you what Fox did. Fox was trotting about one cold day looking for something to eat. He saw a fisherman by a frozen lake, dangling a line through a hole in the ice. The fisherman had caught a lot of fish. They were lying in the snow, tied together with string. Fox was hungry. Fox was sly and quick. He sneaked up, grabbed the string of fish, and ran as fast as he could. In the forest, he met Bear. Bear was hungry too. He waved his long floppy tail and said, "Oh, Fox, where did you get all those fish from?" Fox saw that Bear's tail was even longer and floppier than his. Fox did not like that one bit. He did not want to share his fish either. So Fox said, "I caught them." "How?" asked Bear. "All you have to do is break a hole in the ice on the lake," said Fox. "Then sit down and put your tail in the water." "It will be cold," said Bear. "Yes, but you will catch a lot of fish. Sit still, and the fish will come and nibble your tail," said Fox. "It might hurt, but don't pull your tail out, or you will lose the fish. Your tail is so long, you will catch even more than I did." "Oh, thank you, Fox," said Bear. "Remember, don't pull your tail out too soon," Fox said. And he ran on with his stolen fish. Bear went down to the frozen lake. He did everything Fox had said. He broke a hole in the ice and put his long floppy tail in the icy water. It tingled. The water was cold. The tingling got worse as the fish began to bite. But Bear kept his tail in the water, but as Fox had said to do. Ouch! The water in the lake was so cold, the hole behind Bear began to freeze over again. But Bear did not see. Bear had to grit his teeth. The more it tingled, the more fish he thought he was catching. But soon it was too much for Bear. "I don't care if I lose my fish. This hurts too much," he thought. He tried to pull his tail out of the water. But his tail had frozen. It snapped off like an icicle, leaving nothing but a stump. He did not even have any fish. Fox had made a fool of him. From that day to this, all bears have had short, stumpy tails. They are grumpy because they think everyone is laughing at them. And Fox? Fox is still quick and sly and clever as ever. Bear, on the other hand, has learned that he shouldn't believe everything he is told. Yoshi, the stonecutter. Long ago, in the mountains of Japan, there lived a stonecutter called Yoshi. He was a poor man with a bent back and hard hands from cutting stone. People said a spirit lived in the mountains where Yoshi walked. They said it granted wishes. But Yoshi had never seen the spirit. One day, Yoshi took some stone to a rich man's house. Yoshi loved the rich man's beautiful home, his silk clothes, and his clean, soft hands. "Oh, I wish I could be a rich man," whispered Yoshi. A cool wind blew and the mountain spirit appeared. It whispered, "Your wish is granted, Yoshi. A rich man you now shall be." When Yoshi got home, his hut had become a fine house. Yoshi was rich. He put away his tools and rested, looking out of the window. The day grew hot. Yoshi saw a prince ride by. Servants fanned the prince to cool him, and shaded him with golden umbrellas. "I wish I could be a prince," said Yoshi. The spirit said, "Your wish is granted, Yoshi, a prince you now shall be." Now Yoshi was a prince, riding a carriage with servants around him. Prince Yoshi smiled as he sheltered from the sun under golden umbrellas. His servant gave him water in a jeweled cup, and Yoshi happily sipped it. Prince Yoshi soon felt very hot. Even the umbrellas didn't help. When he splashed water on his skin, the hot sun soon dried it up. "The sun is more powerful than me," muttered Yoshi. "I wish I could be the sun." The spirit spoke again. "Your wish is granted. Yoshi, the sun you now shall be." Yoshi felt himself rise into the sky and start to shine. He really was the sun. He sent his powerful rays down to earth. Yoshi shone harder. He made people sweat and burned their skin. He dried out the land and made the grass wither. Everything could feel his power. One day, Yoshi the sun could not see the ground. A cloud was in his way. He shone with all his might, but the cloud would not go. "Can a cloud blot out my power?" cried Yoshi. "Then I wish I could be a cloud." "Your wish is granted, Yoshi. A cloud you now shall be," replied the spirit. Yoshi became a big, thick grey cloud. He shut out the sun's heat and shaded the people. He cooled the land, and then he began to rain. Yoshi's rain made streams and rivers flow and made puddles on the ground. The grass soon turned green again, and the crops began to grow. Yoshi the cloud rained harder and harder. In the mountains, the little streams became great waterfalls. Rivers overflowed and drowned the crops. The flood water came rushing down road and poured into villages. Only the huge rocks on the mountains stood firm and would not move. "Rocks are more powerful than clouds," grumbled Yoshi. "I wish I could be a rock." The spirit replied, "Your wish is granted. Yoshi, a rock you now shall be." Now Yoshi was a rock, huge, hard and solid. He did not fear the sun or the rain. "Nothing can be stronger than me," he boasted. Then Yoshi the rock felt tools cutting into him. "A stone cutter is stronger than me," said Yoshi. "I wish I could be a man again." The mountain spirit smiled. "Your wish is granted, Yoshi. A man you now shall be." Yoshi the stone cutter picked up his tools and started to work. His back was bent and he was poor, but now he was happy.